Well, one man who we would have liked to have called upon has joined us on the line is Jonny Walters. Jonny, thanks for joining us.
No props, Keith, no props.
How are you, pal? I know it's been a tough couple of weeks with the injury. Give us a little update.
Bad. Yeah, not too bad. Just part and parcel, isn't it? I think these things happen, and rather than be down about it, you just got to get on with it.
So, paint us the picture, because I remember the day you got injured, your manager did an interview after the game, and he basically said, hadn't seen John yet, not sure if it's an ankle, Achilles, might have been a bit of a risk to play him, but we consulted the day before and we were both happy to go with it. But was there a slight risk, or give us a little bit of the background of it?
Now, look, in the week before, I just wasn't jumping off right and things, and I didn't train at the beginning of the week. And I went to see a guy in London, the main guy to do with them, the main specialist to do with them, and he says, "Look, yeah, fine. There's no risk sort of thing to go on it. Going off all the scans and everything, how I felt, Achilles is in pristine condition. So I felt good. And then the next day, I was doing heavy weights on it." And I was just going to see how it reacted. It was fine. I trained Friday, all good. But because he only trained Friday and didn't train in the week, and we had a 3-game week coming up, the manager said, "Look, just take it easy. I'm not going to start. I just don't want to risk you for next week. You've got 3 games coming off, and I just need you to be like 100%. You haven't trained all week," and that's how he does things. Similar to Burnley, if you don't train, so you're not going to be right off, and he didn't want to risk it. I was like, "No problem whatsoever." And he said, "I'll only put you on if you need you." And that was a case. I went on, and I think I passed the ball to the referee once. I thought the referees were not playing, and I ended up chasing back 80 yards, and I felt good. Chased back, did a couple of lengths of the pitch, and then 2 minutes later did a 1-2 with someone, and then it was like there was a sniper at the top of the stadium, and it was just like someone just shot the back of my leg. I thought I got kicked first of all in that split second, and then I realised no one was around me, and I knew straight away it was my Achilles.
You've had such a frustrating time, haven't you? Last year, obviously, and we went over to see us last year, and it was all a case of get a good the games at the end of the season, the Irish games, I think, helped you, and it gave you a little bit of mojo as well, and work well over the summer, come back, good pre-season, and maybe the Europa League campaign didn't quite help you in terms of whether you knew you were going to be staying, going, all the rest of it, but then you made the decision as well, which everyone was delighted about, that you were going to keep on playing for Ireland, and then for this to happen, it's just a kick in the balls, isn't it?
No. Yeah, that's what exactly. Towards the end of last year was I was fit. I was fit from March onwards. Didn't play. Had the Irish games in the summer. Didn't take many days off in the summer. I was at home working really hard. Went back into pre-season. Felt really good. Didn't miss a day's training. Did everything all the way through. Felt really good, and had a lot of off-field things going on at the time. I won't go into it, but I've had been a lot of things off the pitch that were quite tough to deal with, and probably the hardest thing to do was to go on loan to Ipswich. That was nowhere near my house, and leave my family at home. And but I thought it's important that I needed to play.
Was it just did that feel like the right move? Because I was surprised that you were going to go. I know there was maybe nostalgic reasons as well, because you'd had a really successful period day before, or was it meeting the manager? But geographically, as you've alluded to, certainly didn't suit your family life, did it?
No, look, it wasn't an easy decision, because there was clubs that were very close to me that wanted to take me. But you know what it's like, there's a lot of people spinning plates. It's the same for clubs and players. Yeah, I'm interested in you, and you're a number one target, and then nothing happens for a week, and then you think, oh, what's happening here? And then they do that to a few players until suddenly they get one, and then you're left in the lurch. What happened at Ipswich, the owner rang me, and that made my mind up. It was Marcus Evans rang me and said, "Look, we really want to get you in," and that made my mind up. And once it was from that, I was like, right, okay, let's go and play some games and see where it takes me. And then obviously 2 weeks in, this happens, and a disaster. But I think I alluded to the fact that there's a lot of people worse off than me, and in the grand scheme of things, it's not a major thing. It is what it is, and you just take how it is. And look, it's a long time out, and I'll do everything I can to get back to where it's at. It's a long time out, but there's a lot of people worse off than I am, and that's how I deal with it.
Yeah, it's probably the way to look at it. It's interesting you talk about stress can sometimes contribute to a player's injuries. It's amazing how often that seems to happen. What's the prognosis, John? Was it completely ruptured? Do you have a timeline, or are they wary of putting a timeline on it just yet?
No, it was. It's very rare what I've done, where I've done it. It's a lateral part of the meniscus. It's a rupture of the lateral part. It's not low down either. It's going into the musculotendinous junction. It's just underneath that. A bit technical, but it's not normally the part that goes. If you do your Achilles, the first part will be the inside part. It's just the way your calf goes into your Achilles and everything. And it's rare. So when I went to see the surgeon in London, he said, "Look, it tends not to do well off an operation here with the scar tissue and what you're cutting into and the blood supply of the Achilles, so we'll do it conservatively." And I'm in a booth for the next 4 or 6 weeks with wedges in, and basically wearing high heels in my booth, my foot at that angle, so it can heal. I'm having injections in there to help heal. Realistically, on your Achilles, with there not being a good blood supply and how long it takes to heal, we originally said around the 6-month mark, and I don't think it'll be far off that.
Right. It's amazing, really. The Achilles is well and truly taken over the cruciate as the dreaded injury that every player wants to hear, hasn't it?
Yeah, well, use it for everything. The Achilles is all your spring or your bounce, and that's a big part of how I play and push off and do everything. So it's not great. And I don't know, pitches are getting harder and harder nowadays, and I've seen it down the years. There is a pitch, I'm not going to go into which one, where I know 3 or 4 people have ruptured the Achilles on it. It's a very hard pitch. So I don't know whether that's got something to do with it as well. I don't know. But yeah, it's not a great one, but it is what it is, as I said.
I'm like the Grim Reaper here, Johnny, but I'm going to bring you back to last month against Wales in Cardiff.
Yeah.
And look, I've said since, it was the most difficult game I've ever had to commentate on, because first and foremost, I'm obviously still a fan, and I've been in that position. I've probably been in that position with you on a couple of games as well, where obviously nothing went for us. We weren't anywhere near it. How does that game sit with you now, a few weeks on?
That's still a sore point. That's still, as you said, I haven't played in many games like that where I felt that far as a team off it. Germany being one, Germany at home.
Yeah, being there, yeah.
And as players, you go out, right, we're going to press and we're going to do this, and then suddenly you don't, or a couple of players do, and it doesn't quite work, and then they're through you like knife through butter. It's that easy, and it was thinking. And sometimes they didn't have players up front; they had everyone in them, and they had a really good system of playing, and I was really impressed with how they played. But playing against it, it was hard to take. It was embarrassing to play in, really, isn't it? If you're playing in that, it's an embarrassing feeling. And I remember the last time we were there, me and Seamus were sitting next to each other in the crowd, and James McLean scored. And there was a fan behind me, and he was giving me a bit of stick before when we scored. Give me a little bit back, and that's all I could think of in my head after the game. I was there or anything like that. I was thinking, oh, God. But it was, it's such a bad feeling to play in, and it's the only good thing now. You looked at the Denmark game, I didn't play in that one either at home. And there's next 2 games, Denmark, Wales, and the lads that are playing, you know what it's like in the back of your head. You're thinking, that can't happen again. That can't happen again how we were then. And we owed them one almost. And then you'd be doing everything you can. Not like you don't do it anyway during the game, but you do anything you can not to have that feeling again.
It's something which I'd say struck a lot of people watching, John. So, I mean, you talk about maybe the intention was to go out and press, you know, and we probably certainly feel that the Irish team are at their best when they press and get in opposition faces, like Cardiff, I guess, in the 1-0 win.
Yeah.
So we're kind of watching, you know, on our couch, very comfortable, and we're looking at a 17-year-old looking like Pirlo out there. And I guess you're kind of wondering, why is nobody sitting on him, or why is nobody smashing him, you know, 10 minutes in? And you're saying it was hard to get to grips with what they're doing. Maybe you could explain that to us, because I guess he was sort of vaguely in your vicinity at times.
Yeah, look, it was myself and Callum, and I don't know. Sometimes there's new players in there. Sometimes not to point the fingers at anyone, because I was part of the team as well. But sometimes you're not quite at it, or you don't quite know, and you're half a second off it, and that's all it takes. It's half a second, half a second to to miss or not time your pressing right, or if you go and then stop, then you're caught in no man's land and you played around so easy, and that just seems to happen so often. And then, as an experienced one, I've played against formations like that before, pretty similar, where they want to play, but they want to get the second midfielder out that's on the opposite side of the pitch, so they do all the playing, they make you run around. Chelsea used to do it a few years ago, and they want to get the second one out on the other side of the pitch with the full-back pushed high on and the winger tucked in.
Yeah.
So they almost make a 3v2 against your left-back and the left midfielder almost. So as a striker, as you're playing as a two, you should, I know this through experience, ignore them keeping the ball off the keeper, the centre-half, go and stand on the second midfielder. That's the one they want to get out. And if you leave the centre-half to bring it out, I know centre-halves are better now on the ball, but if you leave centre-half to bring it out, they're the ones that you want to bring it out and play either straight pass into the field or try and do a 50-yard diagonal and lose the ball.
Yeah.
So it was hard getting that across on the pitch. In a half-time, we tried to say a bit more, but when you're that many goals down, you're chasing it as well. You want to get something. Then in the end, you almost don't come out, stay in your own half because you don't want to get beat by any more. It's embarrassing. No more goals. But then there's obviously people pay to come and watch you, so all the fans travelled over. So you don't want to just be sitting in your half, and it's embarrassing to be doing that as well.
Jonny, there's no way of getting away from this. It's not a great time, or hasn't been a great time for us. Obviously, you mentioned the performance and the result against Denmark, going back to the qualifier. Obviously, the game in Cardiff last month, and then we had, unfortunately, your club teammate Stephen Ward's leaked WhatsApp, which painted a picture of maybe the relationship Roy, who's been under a lot of scrutiny in the last month or so. Where are we right now, and where are we with Roy in terms of him as the assistant manager? It seems to have made up with Harry Arthur, which is good that he's back in the squad, but is it a big an issue as what's been made out?
As a team where we're at, I think there's a lot of changes. There's a lot of new blood coming in, even from years ago. Even players around the hotel that are not involved, and that's a hard position to be in. It's a lot, as you know, it's 25 plus man squad. So when the 11 that play and the ones that are not used to the same faces anyway, and it was a good group. So everyone, it was quite a tight knit group. Now there's a lot of new faces in, so that sometimes takes time to bed. That could be part of the issue. Whether you're losing a bit of experience, a bit of quality, and there's players now who are just finding the way in the Championship as well. Some very good players, but some just finding the way. In the next few years, hopefully they'll come more to the fore. And then the other issue, which was Stephen Ward and his WhatsApp. What's he doing? I don't know. I think I feel for him because he's one of the nicest guys, Stephen, and he's obviously, his friends have asked him, he had a few stories obviously, and his friends have asked him probably what's happened, and he's probably said, that's too long to tell you, I'll put a voice note in. And I think one of his friends somehow, not stitched him up, but somehow got out, hasn't it? And it causes all sorts. Now, I'm not saying stuff like that doesn't go on at clubs, it's just sometimes it's a thing, as you know yourself, you don't see. And some people are different to others. I think everyone knows how Roy is as a player and how he's gone in after his playing days. So it's something that I know a part of anyway, but other people might not. So I can deal with it in my own way, and that's just part and parcel. And Martin's the manager, Roy's the assistant, and that's the way it is. You deal with what's there. I don't know how else I can.
Jonny, my issue, and I've been quite vocal with this, is, and I'm not privy to what goes on behind closed doors, but if it's a regular occurrence, people like you, I don't think it's a problem with, because you've been schooled in a way where you've served an apprenticeship, you've got broad shoulders in both senses of the world. But the younger generation, they're not used to that.
Yeah, I know what you're going to say. It's changing. Yeah. They're not used to. It's a different world. It's a different world completely. It's a different world with social media and everyone patting you on the back, or it can go the opposite way. And yeah, I know what you're going to say. It's different for the younger lads. It's, whoa, never come across this before. They've gone through 18s, 23s at the academy. But I think that in football's changing. I don't think you can. It's different to what it used to be like, and it's not so much like in the clubs the past few years at Stoke or in Burnley. It's not like that. It's not like that. There's no real. I think that's going out of the changing room as players managing themselves as well. I'm becoming a bit of. I don't know how to put it. Yeah, but they're not used to it.
Yeah.
They're not used to that. But should they be? Is a question. Probably you're asking. I don't know. I don't know.
Well, maybe they shouldn't be increasingly. Like Harry Arter clearly felt a line had been crossed. One of the lines which stuck out from, again, per Stephen Ward's WhatsApp message was that in France, okay, look, these things happen, and they seem to be happening a bit too often, but they happen. And you seem to say, well, come up to the room and we'll sort this out because it's causing tension in the squad. Let's talk it out. And that offer was fairly solidly declined. So you clearly felt this needs to be sorted out because it's causing a tension in the squad. It's not good for the squad.
Well, that's what Stephen Ward said.
Well, did you try and sort it out?
I don't want to go into it too much. In fact, sure. I don't want to cause any. Look, there's a big. We've got a massive for the national team. We've got a massive week coming up. No doubt. Let's pick no bones about it. Denmark beat us comfortably. Wales beat us comfortably. That's got to change in the next week. I don't want to cause any issues before that or anything, or give anything else to talk about apart from the lads that were in there, any distractions, and probably now's not the best time to go into it or to talk about it, but it's not really my thing to do that. And put my side of it across. Probably not the best time to do that.
I certainly respect that and understand it. So flip it on now, a week down the line, are we expecting that little bit of we're going to show everybody against Denmark on this Saturday? Christian Eriksen hopefully will be missing. He's not been named in the squad. Whether he'll make it or not, he missed out on get for Spurs last night. What are you anticipating?
I'm hoping for a win, obviously, but it's going to be a tough game. But as I said, I didn't play in the last one, so I don't. Like, obviously, I played in the Wales one. If it was playing again, it'll be like, right, that's not going to happen again, and that's what the mentality of the players have got to be. It's going to be a difficult game because it's a good team. No, they went and beat after Wales. Easily beat us in the last game. They went and comfortably beat Wales. I know a few of the Welsh camp, even at Burnley. There's an Irish guy, Ronan, who's the stats guy for Wales, and our chief scout, Hodgie, is in the Welsh camp as well. So they're comfortably beaten. So whether they saw the formation, how they played and countered that, I don't know. But look, it's going to be a difficult game. But I think we need for pride really to get the win without a shadow of a doubt, especially the home and things like that. It needs to be a win. It needs to be better than what we have been.
Can I ask you before you go, Jonny, about there's been a lot made in recent years about lack of goals in the team, and since Robbie Keane's retirement, blah blah blah.
Yeah.
For me, then it becomes even more important what you do as a team, how well you're set up, how you create chances as a team. It's not always about just that out-and-out goal scorer, but with the options we have. I don't really hear this just chatting about James McLean just before you came on about maybe him up front. I personally prefer him on the left-hand side. Where do you see us with the options that we have? Obviously, Longley's struggling with an injury at the moment. We've got Scott Hogan, Sean Maguire, and it probably goes back to the point you're making about these players just starting to make their way in the Championship. Graham Burke, Aidan O'Brien, who I thought was magnificent against Poland. So there is promising signs there.
No, there is, but someone needs to really step up and come to the fore. Obviously, we've got Shane, who I really enjoy playing with Shane. And I really get on with him, really like him. But then Shawnee's had a few bad injuries. With his hamstrings, he's coming back, and as you said, like the other boys just coming through from from the Championship and stepping to the front and doing well, scoring goals. And Callum scored a few recently, and then Aiden against Poland. Saw the game on the TV and thought he did really well as well. So hopefully someone can step up to the forefront and really produce. But I've been in teams where no one runs away with top goal scorer. It's 9-10 goals a season, and it's a real team effort, and it's other parts of the team, and it might be a bit boring, but it's set pieces because they can decide games, but then it's being tough enough not to be broken down. And then it goes back to the Welsh game and the Denmark game, we were too easily broken down, so it needs to be, a base to work from. And I'm similar with you with James. I think from the left, I like him from the left because he's direct, he helps his fullback, which sometimes is unseen. But so against the better teams, which generally we're the underdogs, against the better teams you need someone that's going to work in the hole, but then he gets forward, he's good in the air, delivers across, and he's very direct. So I do prefer him from the left, but sometimes if you play out there for so long, then you throw it up front. Sometimes it's a bit of a one-off and you can produce. So, hopefully Shane will be fit, as I heard you before. I think if Shane's fit, he plays, and I don't think he can argue with that at all.
John, another question from the cheap seats. One of the great complaints, obviously, is maybe we don't keep the ball at times or can't get on the ball and express ourselves. Give us your side of that. Like, are Martin and Roy insisting that we try and play from the back? Have we kind of accepted as a team maybe going a bit more direct suits us? Like, when we're watching Ireland, what should we be expecting to see on the ball? Like, what is the aim? What is the vision on a given week to do when Ireland get the ball, when a right back gets the ball or the goalkeeper gets the ball?
I know exactly where you come from because you've played in games and you think, right, we're going to keep it, we're going to do this first 10 minutes, we're going to turn them so we create space, and then we're going to get on the ball, and then it seems like you work so hard to get the ball back, especially if you're playing as one of the forwards. You work so hard to get the ball back, and when you do win it back, it's the old everyone's really tired, so no one really shows for the ball. There's no real options, and I think we've got to get into our heads that it's not just working hard when you go back, win the ball back. You got to work even harder to make angles for your friend, to help them out, because the person on the ball needs at least 2 options, 3 options, 4 options, because then when they do, they can pick the right option. But if you don't have any options and everyone's tired from working back, and you think, it's easy things to do is just to stand there and let the guy have the ball and put it long, and then you're just chasing the ball again.
Yeah.
So I've been in plenty of games like that, and I think that needs to change a bit. But going on, each manager's different I've played under. I've had so many really good managers. Every single manager is different.
A few bad ones as well.
Yeah, so you work on different things in training, or you'll play different things, and Morton's had success down the years at the clubs he's been at, so you can't really argue with certain points of it, but I understand where you're coming from, and as a fan, where you see it like that, but sometimes it feels like that when you're playing as well. Yeah,
no doubt. I mean, it's much easier looking on. Again, I appreciate you're not going to say anything you don't want to say here, so I'm comfortable asking you this. Harry Arter's back in the squad now. That's great. That's been sorted out with a phone call. Did you need a phone call to sort things out? Like, I mean, Keith's talking about how the game has changed, and you kind of can stand up for yourself and you're experienced, and like, did you have to have clear the air talks for you to come back into the squad after the summer, or how is it left? How are these things sorted out with you and, say, Roy in this instance? How is it sorted out?
No, I didn't have a phone call.
Were you looking for one?
I don't know Harry's situation. I don't know if he's had a phone call. I don't know. I don't know. Honestly, I don't know. Was he looking for one? No, I just get on with it. But did they have a sit down and chat and talk through? No, that's just where it is. I'm not. Whether that's me, I don't know. I just carried on, and I always want to play. I always very proud too, and nothing's going to stop me from turning up to do that. That's how I feel. So whatever happened, I wasn't going to let it stop me from going. No, I'm not going to not turn up because of that. So
I guess that's the experience, because I sometimes wonder, so say you're in an environment like that, you're there for weeks on end, You don't want that tension there either, because I mean it's a constant thing. You go down for breakfast and you have to do a quick scan of the room. You get in the elevator. It's like, geez, you better not be. You know, if this door opens and it's you know who, then you don't want that, because that's an energy drainer for you across the week, I would presume.
You're right, and that's why it's important as a group of lads. It's a good group, because at that time you have as well. It's a long time away, and things happen when you're away, and between lads, you know, it's like on a camp. It's a long time, and it's very hard thing to say. Can be a very lonely place, and I'm very comfortable in my own space and things like that. Some lads might find it more difficult, but it is, and that's why it's important to have a tight knit group of lads. And down the years, we've tended to have that, as Keith will tell you.
Yeah,
Jonny, look, really, really appreciate you taking the time. You're going to be a massive loss, both on and off the pitch. Wish you well, your rehab.
No, cheers. Thank you.
Jonny.
No, enjoy coming on. Thanks very much.